Annyeong, it's Mikey here, and guys, I truly am thankful for all your guys' help in growing this channel, and I can't believe how far this has come. Now, I really want to thank Akko because they sent me keyboards since the beginning of this channel, and lately their boards have been truly amazing. Like today, look at this. This is truly a beautiful box. This is their U01 resin board, and I'm truly excited to actually take a look at this board. So make sure to like, subscribe as we get into unboxing and doing a review of this board.
So let's start off with unboxing the Akko U01. This box though, I have to admit, is really beautiful. And taking a look, I'm actually quite excited to see what a resin keyboard looks like. So we do get a coiled cable, and then a switch puller, keycap puller, USB dongle, and the new Akko piano switch. So this is the Piano Pro, and it's limited right now to this keyboard. So we're gonna have to see how that sounds later. Now let's take a look at the actual resin keyboard. So getting it out, it's actually quite interesting of a feel. I mean, it feels like it's completely encased, and I have to admit, this is a really nice board. Like, it looks really nice, and it's actually very dense. I mean, we're gonna do a weigh of this board before we do the sound test, but it's quite dense feeling, and it weighs about 1.37 kilos. So now that we've done the actual sound test, let's take this keyboard apart and see what's inside. One thing though for sure is I think during the sound test specifically, my mic isn't catching exactly how clacky or clicky the keys actually sound. But unfortunately, I did find that it didn't sound that great compared to what my original thoughts were. Maybe it's just because I'm thinking completely different in terms of expectations, but we actually have to remove a lot of the keys to be able to actually open this up. So this isn't a gasket mounted keyboard, it's actually going to be screwed in to the case itself. So we're going to remove all those keys, and there's going to be a total of 10 screws that actually need to be taken out so that you can take this whole thing out to see what's inside of this board, especially if you are planning to mod it. So let's get this fully open just to see what's exactly inside this resin board, and see what we can do, of course, if there's space to even make it sound a lot better. So one of the screws was a little bit tight, but being able to get it out, I can already feel a slight disappointment of what is actually inside this board. Now, that's just me. You know, it could be different for people. one of the cables is actually incredibly difficult to take out. It's actually the battery. So that is something that I cannot really do much about. I could take it out, but I didn't want to risk actually damaging any of the pins. But as you can see here, we have a very, very thin padding on the bottom of the PCB. We get a thin foam on the bottom as well. So this keyboard does have a very, very thin foam. And I'm just going to change the angle so I can give you guys a little bit more of a closer look of exactly at this board. So it does have a 3750 milliamp hour battery. And then as you can see here, so the way that this resin case works, and I do understand, right? The thing is, working with resin is very, very difficult, especially when you have like an IEM. It's incredibly hard, but they really did not add as much foam, say, compared to the other boards that I've had, which is like this Jin YU01 and the YU01. So what we're going to try to do is just do some modifications to this to make this sound a lot better, because it just does not sound that great. And I'm just being honest with you guys, it doesn't sound that amazing for what I was hoping it would sound like, especially with the latest things that Akko's been making. Now, what I'm doing is going to try to add some foam on the bottom, some extra foam, because again, this is not a gasket mount, so you have a little bit more room, and tape mounted on the back. So of course we're going to use the sound dampener that I normally use, and then just a layer of tape mod, see if it fits, see if I can close it down, and let's take a look to see how it sounds afterwards, because we're going to really want to make this thing sound really good. Yeah, especially when you think about what all the other Akko keyboards that I've been reviewing sounded like. This for me was quite a big disappointment, but I'm hoping these modifications will help, because it is a beautiful board. And for those out there that are looking at this board or interested in it, you're interested in it because of looking at it as a piece of art, right? And some people might think, well, why are you looking at a keyboard as a piece of art? But it is part of the hobby, and it does look really nice. In person too, you're gonna be quite shocked. It has this wow factor, and it is art. Like, I think Akko really put a lot of work into this keyboard, and I have to admit that they did. I didn't add anything to the spacebar though, just because it is a clear spacebar. But let's take a sound test. So we did the sound test with the mods that I did. I actually figured out a better way to modify this, which is remove a couple of screws, take out the sound dampener at the bottom, and just do 5 layers of tape mod. So this is going to be a sound test with that, and comparing it with my YU01. So I just did a sound test with the 2 switches on each other. So I'm going to switch around. Rosewood in the YU01, and then the YU01 with the new Piano Pro. So I think I really did fix it with that new modding. I think this sounds so much better now. Especially, like, even when I did the switch changes, it does sound a lot nicer compared to when I did it beforehand, before I made all the modifications. Now, the Piano Pro switch is their limited edition switch that they're doing for this U01. I don't know if they'll ever sell it separately. They might, but it's a nice switch in terms of just the looks of it. I would say there is some stem mobile to it, not too crazy, but you can still feel it. Kind of reminds me of like a Mirandi switch, but this one sounds a little bit more on the higher pitch side, a little bit more clacky, I would say. But in terms of smoothness, I think it's very good. It is a light switch, which I do really enjoy. I like lighter switches, but yeah, I mean the stem mobile is not too bad. I think it's actually pretty decent, I would say. There is still some, but not too crazy. I mean, like, say how the Mirandis were. This does have a nice light diffuser as well. They did make it white so that the lighting on this keyboard is just going to look really beautiful. The keycaps, though, I'm going to be honest, are quite shaky. But that's just, I think, the material that they used just to make this whole keyboard look really, really one-themed, nice. I have to admit, it does look beautiful. And when you saw the lighting, wow, it looked good. Now, I still am not a big fan of the switch on the PCB to turn on the wireless, but you know what? I have to admit, it's not going to be possible on this specific type of case to be able to do the wireless switch somewhere else. This, I'd say, is a lot of work. It's a piece of art. Look at the lighting. You can see how nice this keyboard looks. Like with the rainbow lighting, I'm not a big fan of backlighting, but on this one, yeah, you have to have it on. You really do have to have it on because it looks so nice. Now, if you're looking for a board that just sounds really thoughtful, sounds amazing, like my YU01 with the rosewood, this is not the keyboard for you. I'm just going to be honest, this is not the keyboard for you. This does require a lot of modding. Right? And it's, as you can see here, right, like the YU01 has that gasket mounting. Because of how resin works, they're not going to be able to do kind of that gasket mounting. It's going to be hard to put in areas to put the screws in and more without actually cracking the case. But I would say if you're looking for something that's more clacky sounding, just looks beautiful, this could do you well, but I would suggest doing the modifications that I've done. And trust me, you want to do this. Like if you're getting one because you want to have a collection, something that looks like really piece of art, you will want to do the modifications. Trust me on this. But other than that, this is a truly beautiful board.
Now, this YU01 from Akko, I'm going to be honest, I was slightly disappointed in the sound. The build quality is great. I have to admit, they did a great job in terms of the build quality. And honestly, the stock sound was not very impressive, especially when I consider their YU01, Jin01, especially with all their new switches and all the things that they're doing. Akko has been doing an amazing job, and you cannot deny how great their keyboards have been lately, especially with how good they sound. Now, this one, build quality is good. For a resin board, if resin's not easy to work with, like the resin that they're using, it's like the ones that they use in high-grade IEMs. I use my IEMs that are made of pure resin. They're really nicely done, and this is like a similar build to that. It's not easy to work with. It's definitely difficult. Now, in terms of the sound, I can see where they could have had difficulty with it. And it's not Akko's fault for this. This is just the fact that I was expecting resin to make a very good sound, but it wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be. If you are someone that does like a little bit more of a clicky sound or a clacky sound, this board will really work well for you. But if you're someone that's looking for something thocky, stock-wise, it won't work. Now, I did put a lot of effort into making it sound good, so I hope you guys really like it. And if you do want to grab this board, which is, it's a beautiful board, right? Like, that's why I had such high expectations, because such a beautiful board. And you know what? I think my mods did it though. So let me know down below in the comments if you think I succeeded. And please make sure to catch the other videos that I've done. And I'll see you guys next time.